researcher wants to know if there's any difference in the amount of hours spent at the gym per week by college athletes of different sports. The sports tested were basketball, football, baseball, and soccer. At a .10 level of significance, can the researcher conclude there is a difference in mean hours spent at the gym? Group 1 had an average of 10, 20, 17, and 13 hours. Group 2 had an average of 15, 26, 9, 14, and 19 hours. Group 3 had an average of 11, 18, 19, and 22. And Group 4 had an average of 16, 25, 8, 13, and 20 hours. So first you would state your hypothesis. And your H naught would be that mu1 is equal to mu2, which is equal to mu3, which is equal to mu4. And your H1 would be at least one of the means differs from the others. So then you would go back, CV, critical values. And so on the side, you would draw your F graph, which would look like this. And so you would fill in this side and .10 over here, and then .90 over here for the remaining area. And so to find your critical value, you first need to find K and N. And N is the number of numbers there are in a group, and so K is the number of groups. So K would be there's 4 groups, and then to fill in for CV, which would be inverse F, 0.90 for the area, and then so you need the numerator and denominator. So to find the numerator, it is K minus 1, so that would be 3. And then to find N, which is the numerator, N is the sum of the sample sizes of the groups, so you add together how many numbers there are in total. So in this one, there's there is 19 or 18, and so 18 minus, and then you do N minus K to find the denominator, which is 14. And then you would plug that into the calculator, and you would get your critical value of 2.522, which you would label on your graph over here. That's 2.522. So next to find, okay, so after this you would go back and write in this graph where that point was, and it's 0.133. And so you would not reject because it does not fall in the area past the critical value. Find the test value. So in order to find that, you just plug into the calculator, you go to stat list, and then you enter the 4 groups of numbers in 2 lists, and then F6, C, ANOVA, choose data, and then enter how many groups you have, and for this you would have 4, and then enter list 1, list 2, list 3, list 4 into the options given, and then press enter. And then you would have to fill out this chart. So for the between values, you would look under the factor section, which is the numerator, or between, and the degrees of freedom of the numerator are given as df, and for this first one it would be 3, And then for the sum of squares, you would look at SS, which for this one would be 12.878. And then for the mean square, it would be 4.293. And for the within values, you would look under error, and the degrees of freedom would be 14. The sum of squares would be 453.4, and then the mean square would be 32.386. And then the totals are just the sum of squares columns added together, and then the degrees of freedom columns added together. So it would be 17 for degrees of freedom and 466.278 for the sum of squares. And then way up at the top, it has the F answer, and the F is 0.133. So then to find out whether or not you would reject or not reject, you'd go, and then your final statement would be that you do not reject because there's no evidence to claim that there is a difference in the mean amount of workout time per week of different college sports.